Hello everyone, my name is Woodman, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be talking about closing your speech. This is important for making sure you give a powerful ending to your speech that leaves people remembering your takeaways and your message's impact. You can think of your closing speech as the grand finale. Having a good ending is important because without one, even a well-prepared, well-delivered speech can leave an audience unsatisfied since they do not know what call to action they should achieve. Your finale is so crucial, but it is not easy to get it right. So, what should go into it? Over the decades and the centuries, much has been said about the art of a conclusion. For Aristotle, an ideal conclusion is composed of four things. One, it seeks to draw the audience in, quote, getting the hearer favorable to oneself and ill-disposed towards the adversary, unquote. Two, it drives home the stakes of the argument by what he calls, quote, amplification and extenuation, unquote. Three, it makes one final appeal to pathos, quote, placing the hearer under the influence of the passions, unquote. Four, it summarizes the key points of your argument, thereby, quote, awakening the hearer's recollection, unquote. There is a great degree of consensus among speechwriters and rhetoricians that the conclusion is the perfect place for pathos. You want to motivate your audience, after all. You want to fire them up and deliver an ovation-worthy closer. But as Aristotle notes in his last point, you also want to make sure you remember what it is you talked about. The way to have a good conclusion is to strike a balance between restarting your main argument so that it sticks and grabbing your listeners' emotions and attention so that they leave on a high. On a high note, I should say. You want to capture both their hearts and their minds, and a great conclusion will do both. There's an old saying that sums up the sheer importance of driving your message home across the course of your speech. Tell them what you are going to tell them. Then tell them what you just told them. According to speech coach Andrew Dolgan, he said, quote, tell them what you are going to tell them. That's your introduction. Tell them. That's in the middle of this. That's the middle of your speech, the body of it. Then tell them what you just told them. That is your conclusion, unquote. That conclusion is where you resay, reiterate, and repeat. And there's nothing wrong with repetition. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Repetition can be a vital tool when you are trying to get through to a skeptical crowd. In fact, academic study after academic study, whether by experts in marketing, communications, or psychology, shows that a message is much more effective the more it is repeated. A crucial part of your conclusion's job is to summarize the main points of your argument, and one of the most effective ways to accomplish this is by harnessing the power of repetition. One tried and true structure is to shape your entire speech with a clear plan in mind, with the end coming back to reference the beginning. That's what's called topping and tailing, or starting and finishing with the same theme, the same idea, often the same language. The second time around, however, the listener can hear it with newfound understanding. Now, why is repetition so important for the conclusion in particular? Because this is the make or break portion of your speech, the section that will decide whether your audience walks away informed, inspired, and persuaded. It is part of your address that the crowd is most likely to remember because you said it again and again. When you do that, it signals to the audience that they need to remember it. Another thing to figure out when you write your conclusion is how you want to end your speech. You need to determine what kind of speech you are giving, what you want to accomplish with your audience, if you're trying to motivate and inspire them, or persuade and convince them, or a bit of both. The answer to these questions will help you decide how to end it, but some things are universal. You want to end with a climax, not an anticlimax. You want to end with a bang, and this only happens when your conclusion has the passion and the pathos. Once you have driven home your argument, you also need to drive your audience to their feet. Here's a quote from the words of Sam Seaborn, the fictional deputy White House communications director and presidential speechwriter in the TV show The West Wing. Quote, the difference between a good speech and a great speech is the energy with which the audience comes to their feet at the end. Is it polite? Is it a chore? Are they standing up because their boss is standing up? No, we want it to come from their socks, unquote. After all, there is no better feeling than getting a natural standing ovation from an audience rising from their seats to deliver a prolonged and thunderous applause because of something you said to them. So, how do you get people to feel the energy from their socks? How do you use pathos in your conclusion that drives your audience to their feet? One, you can end with a quote. Words of wisdoms from great leaders, celebrities, or experts can be incredibly memorable. So if you find a quote that reinforces your speech's message, feel free to use it. The quotes you end with can be inspiring, funny, or even somber, depending on the direction and subject matter of your speech. Whatever the case, using a quote to conclude your remarks helps provide a change of pace as you approach your climax. It slows down the end of your address as you bring things to a close. And it allows you, say, speech coach Andrew Dolgan, to introduce a second voice, a fresh voice, to bolster what you have been saying all along. That adds to your authority, and it ends your speech on a line to remember. Two, you can end with an antidote. We talked about the power of storytelling before in this video series, where it is a powerful way to appeal to your audience's emotions. Stories are how we connect with people, how we tap into the empathy of our listeners, and how we most effectively persuade others to follow along. Ending your speech with a story or a personal antidote is a clever way of keeping the crowd hooked and attentive right until you have delivered your very last word. It also allows you, in those very final moments, to transport your audience of the room and back into the real world. It lets them not only come to terms with what you are saying on a personal level, but also to absorb why it ultimately matters. Three, you can end with a call to action. Is there something specific you want your audience to do after they have absorbed your argument? Once they have listened to it, let's say listened to, absorb, and agreed with your words, is the next step to go out and do something about it? If so, end your argument or conclude your remarks with a call to action. Something concrete, something simple, something singular, something memorable. You can even combine a call to action with an inspiring quote or antidote. All in all, you could try out these three main strategies to create a memorable ending to any speech or argument. Employ powerful quotes that echo the theme of your speech, share a humanizing antidote that reminds people why your argument matters, or deliver a heartfelt call to action that inspires people to do something. Choose an option that fits your speech best, or combine them to create your own grand finale. All three strategies are focused on pathos over logos because they are about connecting with your audience one final time at an emotional level and leaving them wanting more. Lastly, let's go over some overall do's and don'ts of writing a conclusion. Do think about how you will want to be speaking when you write your lines. This is good for making sure your tone variance matches what you want to emphasize. Don't bring in a new argument or point right at the end that you have not mentioned before. That could be both distracting and confusing. The ending is for summarizing. Do signal to your audience that the speech is coming to a close. It can get those in the audience who have tuned out, gotten bored, or pulled out their phones to snap back to attention. You can signal this with your own pace and tone, slowing down, taking a pause, raising your voice, etc. Or you could do it with language by using phrases like, in conclusion, let me finish by saying this, etc. Don't just come to an abrupt halt. Make sure your very last sentence is planned out and, at the very least, sounds like a fully formed final thought. Do try to come up with a memorable phrase of your own at the end. For example, the late Steve Jobs of Apple used just 4 words to end his Stanford commencement speech in 2005. Quote, stay hungry, stay foolish, unquote. Don't go on too long. Set a time to finish and pre-plan an ending that allows you to wrap up one time on time, I should say, without the need to rush. And if you do go over your time, do not then end your speech by apologizing by saying, sorry for taking up so much of your time. It's totally unnecessary to say this and takes up time that you could otherwise spend on a meaningful, confident conclusion. In conclusion, to make your speech conclusion powerful and impactful, you want to write it in a way that allows your audience to remember what you said, feel inspired by your message, and motivates them to make positive change in their communities. This is about making sure you repeat and reinforce your core message while harnessing emotion to end on a clear, memorable climax. Once you do that, you will get an applause that shows how everyone appreciates your speech. In the next video, we will wrap up this video set series on the fundamentals of public speaking by providing a recap of what we discuss. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the post notifications so you will be notified when I post my next video. I appreciate your support. Remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you are the changemaker our society needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you soon.